If you are working in pharmaceutical industry, then knowledge of compliance is must, irrespective of which department you are working, where you are working. Compliance is nothing but the simple practices which should be followed on your side so that you will be able to manufacture the good quality of the product. And for any organization, manufacturing the good quality of the product is the key to become the successful. And audits are nothing but the new business opportunities. And don't think that you have to follow the compliance only to qualify the audits, but regular practices also you should follow the compliance. And you should able to think that we have to manufacture the good quality of the product, because who is end user of these pharmaceutical industry? Nothing but the patient. And patient can be anyone from your family, anyone can be my family, anyone in the world, but he or she is also the part of family of somebody. We should not always try to maintain the compliance and try to maintain the good practices on our side only to qualify the audit. It is, this thought process is not going to help in long, because yes, now today's scenario you must always be ready to be inspected, and that is the right approach. Because why anyone should come and audit our facility? Why can't we ourselves maintain our standards so high, and we should be able to attain the level of confidence so high that yes, we are manufacturing the good quality of medicine, and this medicine, our medicine, is going to heal the patient, and it is going to work on the patient so that he or she will be cured and will be healed. So why to prepare only for the audit? Why not to think the main purpose of our being? Why should we should not think the main purpose of pharmaceutical industry, why this industry is formed? So if we will think like that, then we will not have to be audited anytime. We will think like this, that what is the main purpose of being the pharmaceutical industry, why this manufacturing industries were formed. We will not like the thought process that we have to prepare for the audit only when someone will come on our side, and that auditor will inspect our side. For them only we have to make the compliance, but the compliance and quality we have to maintain for the patient who is going to have our medicine. I am Dr. Rupali, Paranjape, best-selling author of book Blue Ocean of Compliance, and today we are going to discuss the 5 R's of pharmaceutical industry. Do you know that what are the 5 R's of pharmaceutical industry which should be handled very carefully so that the quality of your product will be good? Do you know those 5 R's? So let's discuss. First R is rejection, another R is reprocessing, third R is rework, fourth R is recovery of the material or recovery of the solvents, and fifth R is return. Return we have already discussed in our previous session of Blue Ocean of Compliance tips, and I hope you might have heard that and you would have understood that, and you would have implemented the practices discussed in that session on your side. Remember that only knowing and not doing is not going to help you. You have to implement all the learnings of your life anywhere, in any of the area of your life. You have to implement the learning, only you will be able to get the results. Okay, now come to the point of discussion we are going to do today on today's topic. That today, whatever topics we are discussing for the API manufacturing companies. One thing we should remember, that whenever we are reprocessing or reworking any material, this should be different for API and intermediates, and different for formulations or drug products or drug mixtures, because since many years we are reprocessing and we are reworking on the solvents or materials or intermediates, and their purity is increased, right? To increase the purity of the material, we are applying different processes of reworking and reprocessing. But for drug products or drug mixtures, these may not work because the potency of the drug will decrease and bioavailability will also decrease. So these practices should be considered different for different things. Means for API manufacturing or APIs intermediates, the reprocessing reworking should be different, and for drug products it will be totally different. Now for a rejection, if any material is rejected on your site, for example intermediate is there, if you will apply the reworking or reprocessing or drug products or drug mixtures, it may be possible that the shelf life of that drug mixture or drug will be decreased and bioavailability will also decrease, right? So we cannot apply the same principles on both the things. Okay, another thing is that whenever we use the rejection word is applicable only when there is approved specification, right? When any material, any intermediate fails to comply with the specification which is already approved, then we can say that the material is rejected if it is not able to comply that specification. In case of the intermediates, it is applicable only when the intermediate is live for longer duration of the period, right? At least till testing, that intermediate should be live. It should be able to maintain its specification. It should able to remain in its specification. So the rejection word cannot be applied when we have to comply the any norms that it will be intermediate is. In case of intermediate, if there is a defined specification, then only it is applicable. At least intermediate should be live till the testing of that intermediate is going on. Okay, if intermediate is not stable for that period also, so we cannot apply this concept of rejection. Okay, when any material is rejected, just pasting the label of rejection do not suffice. So one should know that the material is not just rejected and it is not to be disposed when rejected label is pasted, but it should be clear that whether the material to be reprocessed or recovered or what is to be done with that material. Just in many companies, red label of rejection is placed on the container and to show that the product or material API is rejected, right? So one should know that we have pasted the rejected label. That does not mean that the product is to be destroyed. Okay, so that should be kept in the mind. But in SOP also it is to be specified that how to handle this rejected material. So this rejected material is not like that it is placed with the quarantine and after that it is like other products or other API or other intermediates which are waiting for the testing. Okay, so one the status of that material should be clear, right? That is different thing that OS has happened with any material. So out of specification has obtained, out of specification results have been obtained for some material and that material is waiting in the quarantine for the results that what is going to happen after that. But rejected material is somewhat different and that should be specified that how to handle that material. Okay, so it is not like other quarantine material and it should clearly specified on the label that it is not like other quarantine materials waiting for release. Okay, so that should be kept in mind. If you have the computer systems, then you should mention in computer system that the product is rejected and what next is to be done with that product, and in your SOP it should be clearly defined that how to handle that material. Another thing, it may be possible that for example any intermediate is rejected. So might be possible that that intermediate is rejected and you are going to reprocess or work on that intermediate, and once it obtain the level of complying the specification, then you are using that intermediate in your manufacturing process. In many cases this also happens that even the intermediate is rejected and it is used in the manufacturing process. After when you get the final product, in that case you find that whether the final product is complying the specification or not, and based on that testing you decide that what to be done with that rejected intermediate, right? So these are the different things, that whenever any intermediate is rejected, only rejection does not mean that the material is to be disposed, but keep in mind that whenever you are using these processes, means rework or reprocess or recovery, so these cases should be handled very carefully and strict compliance is to be monitored. So some later we will discuss those future episodes, but these things if you are applying on your side, strict monitoring of compliance and strict regulations to be followed. Many times it will happen that you are using these reprocessing or rework processes, but you are not applying all the compliance practices on your side, then it is going to create a big non-compliance on your side. So whenever you are doing any reprocessing or rework or recovery of the solvent, so you should always keep in mind that strictly you will have to follow the compliance. So these were the today's blue ocean of compliance tips, and last episode we have discussed the return. In this episode we have discussed the rejection, and in coming episode we will be discussing another hours of which are important for our pharmaceutical industry. So Dr. Rupali Paranjape signing out until we meet again in our next blue ocean of tips. Yeah, do not forget to subscribe my YouTube channel and like my YouTube channel and share with your friends, so that they will also be able to get benefit from these discussions, because all these discussions I am doing based on the practical experiences and many things I have seen on the manufacturing side. So based on that I discuss these things. These are very simple things, but when you apply it, it is going to help you attain the very good level of compliance on your side. Yeah, and every week we will be discussing a new topic of compliance and basic compliance in blue ocean of compliance tips. So till that, Dr. Rupali Paranjape signing out until we meet again. Thank you.